Okay, so the topic here is, everybody knows Steve Barnacle, and he drives all over the United States, and he's driven tens of thousands of miles. And on his last trip, which he'll tell you about, unfortunately, he had an auto accident in his 1930 Model A. And we had talked about it, Steve and I and his wife, we see each other quite a lot, and I said, it's going to be interesting how you work through this with the insurance company, because a lot of people are fearful of what's going to happen, or are they insured right, or what's the process. So we decided that we would put together like an interview, and he's going to have some PowerPoint slides to show you some of the things that he went through. So unfortunately, if you ever have to go through this, this could be a springboard for you to maybe know to ask the right questions or to do things in a way which your claim will come out and benefit you the most. I'm gonna give it to Steve first, and then we'll do this interview thing. And then should you folks have questions from the audience, I think we'll have you come up to our roving microphone and ask, because as it was stated earlier, we record all these. And it's nice if all the words can go on the recording, so that if someone plays it back, they understand what we're replying to. So here's Steve.
Hey guys, yeah, my wife and I were in Southern Illinois, in Greenup, Illinois, if everybody knows where that is. We were just stopped at a statue of Burl Ives. You can go to the next slide.
Yep, just a second. Let me get this shared with the folks at home here. This into
Sure.
presentation mode.
Nope, you didn't go share.
Did it not share?
Nope, you didn't hit share button. Nope, the blue at the bottom of it. There you go. Now you're sharing.
No, presentation mode. Barely read that. Which one's the presentation? Is it this one?
Yeah, we were in Southern Illinois. We just had stopped at Burl Ives statue. This is something my wife and I were going to do a few years ago on our way to Nashville. And my mom got sick and ended up in a hospital. So I had to rush home for that, and I wasn't able to stop. So we were close, so we stopped there. And then from there, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so there's my wife with Burl Ives. And that picture on the right, that's showing the road that we were on. And that dot is where Burl Ives' statue was. And then we're heading up north toward Janesville there, next slide. And we're going to go to Lincoln's home cabin. We wanted to do that a few years ago on our way back from Nashville. We weren't able to do it. So on our way there, I was making a left-hand turn at that where that dot is, and a guy tried to pass me. I was making a left-hand turn, and so he met my front fender. He had a trailer, and I caught his trailer caught my front fender. Ripped his fender off his trailer. It was like one of those 9-foot enclosed trailers. So next slide, and that's the intersection. You can see that little darker spot. That was a Quonset hut that was there. I went on the ditch on the left side. He went on the ditch on the right side, and I was able to back out of the ditch and park in front of that Quonset hut, so I got out of the highway. He was off the highway down in the ditch. Next slide. Okay, this kind of gives you an idea where we were in the state of Illinois. Next slide. And that's what my car ended up being like after I pulled it up. Next slide. Next slide. You see the spokes are bent, my hubcap is gone. Next slide. Just some close-ups of the damage. Next slide. Next slide.
That looks like that's the
Okay, is that it then?
driver's front cowl, is that what we're looking
That's
at?
my running board.
Running board
That's-
on the driver's
yeah.
side?
Yep. And then the steering column got shoved up. You can see that collar or that top race got shoved up about a ½ inch. And from the shock. Next slide. And then the axle is bent right about where the arrow is. And then I brought this is the perch from there, and it's bent. I'm going to pass it around. You can see. So I actually bent the perch too. Next slide. And that's my mileage when the accident happened. Is the next slide just some paperwork?
Yep.
Yeah. Why don't we wait with that then? Or I'll pass this around. The axle was a little heavy to bring in here, so. So Mark has some questions about how we handle with the insurance and stuff.
Okay, so he explained to you where they were, and my question to him was, you and your wife were in the car, what was it like being hit in a Model A?
It happened so fast, it was like a split second, because where I was hit, I just jerked to the right, and all I saw was a flash of a truck. I didn't know what it was go by me, and then the next thing I knew, this is seconds. I was down in the ditch, and I saw the guy on the other side of the ditch. But it was just a jolt. We didn't get any whiplash or anything like that.
So did you lose control of the car?
I don't feel I lost control. It drove me down into the ditch. I think because I was turning, I kept going that direction, but he glancing off and I ended up going straight.
So I've been with Steve in his car a lot. I know he has seat belts. Do you feel they helped you in this accident?
I don't know. It happened so fast. I mean, we didn't move around, so it must have held us in place.
And when we had some ice cream and I talked to his wife Leah about this, she said it was like a glancing blow. It wasn't like a T-bone. And she said it felt a little bit like a carnival ride. That's how she described it. And then I said, he just kind of answered, I said, did you feel you had any injuries as a result of this accident?
No, other than just feeling bad it happened. You know, it was more of an emotional thing than anything else. I'm just thankful nobody is hurt.
Okay, were your insurance documents satisfactory when you presented them to the police officer? Because I know you had an officer come to the scene of the accident.
Yeah, that was interesting. I handed her all my insurance stuff, and she said, "Well, I'm going to go to my car and check it all out." Well, she came back, and about a half an hour later, she says, "I can't find any records of your car in the Minnesota DMV." And and she wanted to know if there was a VIN number, and I says, "Yeah, it's right under." I was sitting in the car. It's right there under the body. And she said, "Okay, I'll go back and check." And she was gone for at least a half hour, and she came back. "I can't find any records of your car," but she wrote an accident report off of it, so that was it.
So with that said, Steve's car has your manufacturer license plates, like a lot of people in the room here, and it kind of seems like the state of Minnesota doesn't really put them in the system or whatever. But my next question to Steve is, did you have any negative feedback from the officer as a result of you driving a car that was produced in 1930? For example, you don't have shoulder belts, you don't have an airbag, you don't really have like uniform brake light and turn signal placements. What you have is the new car standards out today.
Not really. The guy that hit us, he was kind of a rude dude. But when I went after the accident, I walked up and was going to see if he's okay. And he says, "I'm on the phone with the police." I said, okay. So I waited until he's done. And then he turned to me and he says, what were you thinking? I said, well, I had my turn signal and I was slowing down to make a left-hand turn and you tried to pass me. Yeah, but you turned your turn signal on right when I was passing you. And okay, so he did see my turn signal. And he said, I have it all recorded. So I wish I would have looked at the recording and I didn't. But the policeman did. When she came back, after she viewed it, she came back to the car. She said, we had to watch it multiple times to see your turn signal. And I have a turn signal also in the back window, one of those other third light. So I kind of kicking myself for not looking at the video because I would have think that would have showed up in the video too. But she says it's really dim. I said, but it was on, right? She says, yes, it was. And she said, it's not your fault. So, but then she said to me, I have one more question. She says, why did you turn into his trailer? And I said, well, think about it. I'm doing 15 to 20 miles an hour because I'm slowing down to make a left-hand turn. He's doing 55. He's doing 50 feet a second. You know, he can pass me in 1 second. So, you know, I saw him coming up. I didn't see him starting to pass me. I was concentrating. If you're in the country, you know what some of these roads are really hard to see. They're not marked real well. So I was looking to make a left-hand turn. And so that's it.
Okay, so then this is a little off script, but Steve and we talked about this. Okay, so we're in the Twin Cities Model A Ford Club, and we have Model A Fords, and a lot of us drive them out into the world. And I really think that you want to be safe, and you want to give the people around you the biggest safety cushion that you can. So even though there's a lot of purists in here that want that car to look like it came from 1928 to 1931, I think a good idea is if you're going to drive and put your grandkids in it, make sure the brakes are good. Don't fool around. Turn signals, nobody today understands when you stick your hand out the window. You can, if you have a show quality car and you don't want to put turn signals in, buy the wireless ones that stick on with magnets so that you can take them off quickly. The cars, when they were built, they didn't feature many times a mirror on the passenger side. You're in traffic, it's moving a lot faster, they stop a lot faster than you. You should do it. Seatbelts, there's a divided question on that. Well, if I have the seatbelts, there's nothing good to anchor them to. If I anchor them too good to the frame and we're in an accident and the body lets loose of the frame, I'll be sheared in half. My suggestion is something's probably better than nothing. And at least if you have seatbelts, they'll find your body. Getting thrown out of a car is not a good thing. And then the other thing is when there's calamities and tragedies, a lot of times there's knee-jerk reactions by local legislature and state legislatures, and they want actions done. In the business that we've been subject to knee-jerk reaction things that the politicians really didn't think really so sure about. Now, if a Model A went off course and unfortunately struck a bunch of school children waiting for a school bus stop, it would be all over the news. And I think if you had every safety precaution on the car, it would be in your favor. So my pitch is you're going to drive it, make it safe for those around you. So that's my off-script pitch. I like two brake lights. If people want to add them to the left, great. If you want to put that one in the rear window, even better. Turn signals, great idea. So that's that. So going on to our program on script, I knew through our conversation that your car was undrivable. And at that point, did you immediately make a call to the insurance company as soon as the police officer finished so you could get a tow? Was a tow left up to you to secure? And was there a local tow shop recommended by the police officer? And the things that I know is Steve was insured by Hagerty.
When the police officer was over checking my registration and stuff out, I have AAA, so I got on the phone. AAA is easier to get a hold of than an insurance company, so I got, and I was gonna have it towed with that. Well, then she got on the phone with AAA. She came back and she said, "Well, I've already secured a tow for you, and it's a local guy. You're in the middle of nowhere. He's the only guy miles." So he was on his way, and she also told me that an ambulance is coming, and I said, "We don't need one." Well, so she tried to cancel it, and they were on their way already, so they showed up, and they just asked us questions, and we were fine, but we did get a bill for that. That was kind of interesting. We got a bill for $470 a piece, and they didn't even touch us. And so I did submit that to the insurance company, and they took care of it. So, did that answer your question? Okay.
So you didn't immediately call the insurance company, and that's understandable during the time of the day and all that. So, when did you contact them, and was it easy to contact them?
When we got to the motel that night, I got online and I registered the accident online. I filled all kinds of paperwork out. I think I had to attach some pictures. There was also, I attached a copy of the accident report to that. And so then the next morning when we were going to pick up our rental, that's another, I gotta tell the story. It's fun. We get up and you're in the middle of nowhere. And so I got on my phone and I tried to call Lyft to pick me up. And if you've ever done that before, the little thing, we're finding some way, we'll keep looking, just wait, just keep 20 minutes goes by and it's still looking. And now I'm getting a little nervous because we've got to get to the rental place. And so I had my wife get onto Uber, and she connects up, and right away, "I'll be there in 10 minutes. So the guy got there and picked us up, and my wife asked him, "Do you live around here?" "No, I live in Indianapolis. I just drove a couple back from Indianapolis from the airport here." He just happened to be in the area. So we're very fortunate.
Okay, so you had the accident, and it's pretty obvious a lot of times they want you to give them, the insurance company, a police accident report. Did you obtain it, or did the insurance company do it on your behalf? And was that the adjuster that did it, or just the first contact person?
No, the gal that called me right when we were going to the car rental. I got a call from the car rental place, and the car was supposed to be ready at 10. And the guy told me it wasn't going to be ready until 1. And I said, "Well, we're kind of stuck. We're just going to sit in your office until it's ready." Well, then as soon as we got there, I got a call from Hagerty. And Janelle, she was great on the phone. She went through the whole insurance, what I was covered with what they were going to take care of for me on it, and what I had to do. And that was on Monday morning. And then she wanted to know what I was going to do with the car. I said, the tow guy is going to store it for us. And he said, "When do you plan on getting it back?" "I'm planning on being there at least, we'll pick it up." Well, so we actually picked it up on Wednesday. Jerry Schilling let me borrow his trailer, and then I had a friend who's going to borrow a truck from his son, and his son decided, "No, I want to drive." So we left at 3 o'clock in the morning Wednesday, and we got home at 11 o'clock that night. So we got it all done in one day. But the insurance company at that point in time was right on top of stuff. And then she told me that a few days an adjuster would get a hold of me, and so.
So typically, when you're on the phone with the adjuster, they tell you they're gonna record the statement, the whole bit, and they ask you, what's your recollection of what happened? Did they ask you to send photos, and did they ask you about your driving history and past accidents?
Yes, I had to send pit photos in. I had a copy of the accident report, so I took a picture of it and I sent that to her. They didn't ask me about any prior accidents, nothing about my history. That was my first claim with Haggerty, so.
Okay, up front, did they tell you, okay, we looked up your policy, you're insured up to some amount, and then did they disclose, I don't know how to word this, probably Brad knows this better than I, but at a certain percentage of the total insured, they consider something total, I think.
Usually 70%.
Okay, so I was gonna ask Steve, did they tell you, well, if your insurance amount and your claim is 70% or 60%, we're gonna call it total? If she did, I don't remember it. I was trying to deal with the rental guy at the same time that was going on. So the only thing that I have was, and what that does for you, if you've heard of it, you pay, I think it's like $35 or $40 a year. If your car is totaled, you own it already. You don't have to buy it back from the insurance company. You always own that car. So she went through that on the policy, and she said, I said, I don't think it's going to be total, but it's nice to know that is covered. So I don't know if the other insurance companies do it, but I know Haggerty does. And Taylor does not? No. So if you're looking to buy your insurance and this is a concern to you, you might want to ask for a clearer understanding of what cherished value is. Like, for instance, if you just put in a brand new Bert's engine or your engine was rebuilt, might be a real good thing to take the cherished value. So did you have a representative that was like your quarterback, and they were between you and the adjuster or the appraiser, whatever you want to call them? Did you have more than one person you had to work with? Did your appraiser have to go back to somebody? Danelle was my head person, if you wanted to talk to her. But it's when I got home, on Monday night, and Tuesday I tried to call her, and no response, and I was really getting disappointed. And Tuesday or Wednesday, we were driving down there. I was still trying to get a hold of her, telling her that I was going to go pick the car up, and she said she was going to take care of the storage costs, and I just wanted to make sure that was all being taken care of. I couldn't get a hold of her, so I got mad, and so I called and talked to her boss, and found out that there was a big storm that took electricity out of her house, and her house was damaged, and that's why she wasn't getting back to me. So that I felt I was now I knew it was happening, so I calmed down a little bit. So, but she never did take care of the toll. I had to pay. I got reimbursed for it, but. Okay, so now you've got this damaged car, and you started talking to the representative from the insurance company. Did you have to go out and supply estimated pricing for parts or services that you needed? Or did the appraiser come back to you and supply pricing for the parts that you said were damaged? And was the actual reimbursement able to cover your parts purchases? Yeah, after talking to the adjuster, he actually, show me the next slide. I don't know what order I have these in. But I have copies of the estimate. What he did is he went to Mike's Affordable. He saw the damage from the pictures, and so he found out what a fender cost. He found out what the running board cost, and go to the next slide if you can.
Yep, just give me a second.
Well, that's the report from the accident report. So that's the towing charge. And Haggerty covered all that. She paid for the storage also. She was gonna pay up storage up until Friday. What's that one? That's just the cover sheet for the reporting the accident. And then this is the estimate. So what he did, he went to eBay to get prices on stuff. He went to Mice Affordable to get prices on stuff. And so that's where he came up with prices for parts and stuff. And so there was a whole list of stuff on there. And then go to the next slide. If you note on there, this is for estimate purposes only. And if a replacement is required, there are further inspections. Please submit. So what I did is on most of those items, I took like the running board, I was able to straighten that out and just get new trim for it. So we took that off. I was able to fix the flash apron. I took that off. But then I had to, I forgot what I had to do now. Oh, with the fender, I got a used fender, so he had a price for a new one on there. So then it took me longer time that he had estimate to replace the fender because we got to take the body off. So I submitted all those labor costs. He asked me when we first started interviewing, who was going to do the work, and I said, well, I'm going to do most of it unless there's something I can't do. And then he said, well, just submit the costs and we'll take care of it. And that's what he did. So we subtracted some things from his original estimate and we added some stuff. So I got a check within a couple of weeks. I was able to start buying parts. And then the supplemental thing, we took off $500 of stuff that I didn't need, and we added $1,000 for labor and other parts needed. So hope that answers your question.
Good luck. So he kind of went over like the next questions we were going to ask, and I think you would agree the reimbursement rate was fair to you.
Yeah, I got $45 an hour. I got $45 an hour for my labor, and he had costs on there for if I had body work done and other stuff. So now Brad fixed the fender that I had, but I didn't. I just put that as my labor. So.
And if there was things obviously that you couldn't take care of, they paid enough money for the outside help to do it.
Yep.
And were you paid in installments for the work? Like, did they give you like a check up front? And then as some of the unforeseen items came due and you had to use what I believe what they call a supplement, did you get a second check?
I got two. Well, I actually got three checks. One was for the tone, and then I got an original check. And then when I got all the work done, I submitted a supplement and some adding and subtraction, and so I got a second check.
Was the communication between the insurance company and you easily? Were calls returned promptly and explanations given without delay? And we're talking about you were insured with Haggerty at this moment.
I would say the communication, other than that first little blurb at the beginning, was really good. In most cases, Danelle picked up the phone every time I called her, except for once or twice, and always responded. The estimator, he was a little harder to get a hold of, but very, very good on the phone. When I told him all the problems I was running, I would have to lift the body up. He said, just submit the labor what it took you to do. And so that's what I did.
Was there a disagreement on any of the costs or estimates or the amount of the damage? And if there was a disagreement, did they explain to you like an appeal process or how you could walk through this?
There was never a disagreement. I never had to show a receipt for anything that I did. So they didn't ask for anything.
and I think you kind of answered this. You said you documented your receipts and you used a lot of photos. And did the adjuster check in and say, "Can I see a progress report? Can I see photos?"
No, never. The only photos he got at the end was my finished product. I sent him a photo and said, "Thanks for helping me work through this."
So this is kind of my last question in this interview, and then if you people in the audience have a question, we'd certainly like to hear it. But I guess we're not trying to sway anyone's opinion, but what was your experience? How would you rate it? And you never want to have a claim, but would you continue to be insured with them?
Yeah, yes, I would with Hagerty, and it went smoothly. I've dealt with insurances for my modern cars, and that's been more hassle than this was. I was expecting to get my teeth out a few times and have a little disagreement. We had a 2003 Mustang convertible that caught on fire, and so I did a lot of legwork to find out what the car was worth. And so I was trying to let my wife deal with that, and so I was letting her deal with the insurance. But I told her, I said the car's worth 12.2. Don't take less than, because the car was totaled. And she called me up and she says they'll only give us $9,200. I said, well, call them back. That's not good enough. And so I can't do that. I can't do it. So I got on the phone with him and I said, how'd you come up with the 9.2? He said, well, we take 5 cars that have sold in your area that are similar to yours, and we take an average. I said, what was the high? 12.5. What was the low? It was like 8.5. And I said, well, I have a 12.5 car. He said, well, let me do it. And then he came back and said, well, there was soot all over the roof of the car. I said, it was in a fire. Sorry for that. It was in a fire. And so then he came back with 12.2.
So that would be kind of like our little input in here. And like what Steve just said about the adjuster, they don't exactly have the last word. I mean, you can negotiate, you can explain your situation. If you're reasonable and they're unreasonable and you can kind of show it, I think you'll get what you deserve. So is there any questions from the people in our audience? And if so, we're going to let Jerome.
Can I first, you have more slides?
Show.
Do you want to go through those?
Yeah, see what they are. I don't remember what they are.
You have a bunch of slides for the repairs that you did?
Well, I think you got that bed axle and purchases.
Oh, maybe it just shows the bed axle.
That was something.
That's after I tore the steering apart, so it sheared that bolt right off. Well, that's the two tooth. The tooth is chipped there, and that bearing is smashed. And the gear is chipped. That's the bend axle.
Wow.
I didn't show a picture of it, but the tie rod was bent too. It had a pretty good bow in it. So, but I straightened that out. And then that's the perch. So you see the straight one and the bent one. And then that was kind of straightened out a little bit. That's where they're torn apart. And that's Brad Nelson's work right there. That's where I was fitting it on there. He told me to do that. And it still didn't fit, but that's okay. Yeah. that corner down there in the front bottom corner that was torn, and so I welded that and straightened that out. That's my painted fender. And I was fitting it on. I had the front axle all back together.
I was gonna say, it looks like you have some nice painted parts under there.
That's where I had trouble. I had to take that back off and straighten her out. That's me back on the road.
Wow.
Is that it? That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like there's slides with points, but you might.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we hands here, and I'm just gonna go as I see the hands.
Did you have to replace the axle or just straighten it?
I replaced it. I showed Dave Gerald some pictures of it, and he suggested replacing it. So I got that from Burt's in Colorado.
Okay. And the steering gear, you got to replace all that, I assume.
Yeah.
And the also.
No, I straightened that out.
Oh, okay.
Dave Peterson had a press. I was able to straighten it out. There was a piece of metal that was on there. I had to fix that and weld that up, and then buy new trim, stainless steel trim for it. But it came out pretty good.
Two more quick questions. You got any idea why the state of Minnesota didn't have your car that would show up on the policeman's?
I have no clue.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, the last question. You said you ended up in the left-hand ditch, right?
Right.
But you got hit on the left side, so I'd assume you ended up in the right-hand ditch. Because
Well, I was making a left-hand turn, so my road was, my steering wheel was turned to make a left.
Okay, got it. That's it.
If you have a question, I'll go back to Kenny wanted to talk.
Are you running Pioneer plates on there?
No,
No, the regular?
30 plates. I got.
Oh, 1930 plate?
Yeah. And it's registered with those plates.
Yeah. I have had some trouble with Minnesota with Pioneers and those 30 plates are like in a different drawer.
They don't know. They don't know where the drawer is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so they call it in, and all of a sudden it's, well, we don't have any record of that. Well, they do. It's just they didn't get in that section where they give you those special plates.
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. No. Did the adjuster pretty much find all that stuff? Like your bent spring perch, that's pretty subtle.
Well, that's what, when I talked to him personally, he says, just when you pull it apart, find out what's wrong and tell me what it is.
Oh, so you
What?
pretty much got to take it apart and then
Yeah.
show him what was bent.
Yeah, I didn't have to show him anything. I just told him,
Oh,
and this is what I had to buy, and
okay.
he didn't quit. I didn't have to show him parts or costs or anything.
On the, you said you got $45 an hour for labor rate, that was what he chose. If you should call your local body shops in the area, they're all gonna be the same. They're gonna be around 65 probably right now, restoration rate's over 100.
Yeah, but you know, you got to think of it. I don't have any overhead costs. I don't have any. You know, I'm not.
Yeah, but if you had to bring it to a body
I
shop,
know,
they would've
I
paid
know,
that.
but he would have paid it.
Yeah,
You know, he would have paid that.
but the kind of a trick they do, they always try to drop the rate down if you
Yeah.
know what's going on. So just anybody else is around, just call your local body shop. They'll tell you the rate.
So before I get to you guys, I have a quick question. Because the other guy was at fault, according to the officer, did Haggerty pick up the charge or did they bill the other person's
I
insurance
have no
company?
clue.
I bet they did.
Well, I did get a letter from the other insurance company saying they weren't going to honor the claim. So then I got a hold of Danelle and I said, I just got this letter. I just got off the phone like 2 hours before with her, and she says they're taking responsibility for so I'm sure the letter went out first. They just do that automatically, send the letter out.
They always say no first.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, just to back up the seatbelts, I believe they always tell you to never anchor them to the frame, always with the body.
Yeah, I got mine anchored to the body, yeah.
Comment.
And I did, did have LED lights in my buckets, but just the bulb, and they're not as, I now have LED lights in there, you know, so they really show up.
You talked about pictures. Did he have a camera, the guy that hit you?
Yeah, he had a camera in his vehicle, so he filmed the whole thing. I didn't see it, but he had it.
So was it a new vehicle?
Yeah, it was a new vehicle, yeah. Almost a brand new truck. His truck didn't get hit. The only thing that got hit was tore the tire up and the fender on the trailer off. When I got out of the ditch, my toolbox is on magnets on my running board. Well, that was sitting out in the middle of the highway, and his fender was sitting right next to it. So the first thing I did is run out there to get that, so cars didn't run into it.
Steve, do you mind telling us the premium you pay, and have you ever compared it with other insurance companies?
I know when I originally had Taylor, and I know when I went to Haggerty, they were almost the same. The only difference was the cherished value. There's a little bit more because of the cherished value. And I did talk to Taylor about that, and the guy had no clue what I was talking about. And then what I also found out in this conversation, this was a few years ago, you know, I drive all over the United States, and so I was going to New Mexico, so my question was, if I get in an accident down in Arizona, am I covered? And he said, well, are you going to a car show or this and that? And I said, no, I'm just on a family vacation. You're covered, but we will drop you. So I went to Haggerty and asked them the same question. They said, no, drive your car. If you get in an accident, you're covered. We're not going to drop you. You're taken care of. So they want you to drive your car.
On that cherished value, if you have a car, let's say that's not a Model A, let's say that you have an Italian sports car or a Porsche or something, sometimes the wheels alone on those cars are worth like a lot of money. If you have like a 1972 Porsche 911 and it has these Fuchs wheels, the wheels, you can resell them for like $4,000. So if you take cherished value every year, it's not a bad deal, because even if you wanted to junk the car afterwards, first the insurance company pays you, then you own the Hulk, and if you have like racing seats or these wheels or something, you can make some money back. So it's something to think about. In a Model A, maybe not so much so unless you just put in a new engine or something like that.
So the thing about the turn signals and the hand signal and all this other kind of fun stuff. 1 month earlier than you, I was coming home from the tune-up clinic. Everybody knows where the tune-up clinic was. I was coming home and I was going to turn on my street. I have LED turn signals and they're bright. And everybody saw my presentation a couple of years ago about how I did my turn signals. And they are bright. I had my turn signal on, left turn signal, and I had my hand out the window, and I happened to catch somebody who was passing me on the left. I would have been in the same situation, and this guy was flying. So I would have been in the exact same situation, but I happened to catch it that he was going around me. Hand signals don't mean anything to anybody, and turn signals are ignored. So you gotta be careful and watch. When I saw your presentation, because I saw Leah was sending me updates, and I saw the thing and I'm going, oh my God, that was me a month earlier.
I actually have two questions. I'm trying to understand, how did the accident actually happen? I mean, I know you're taking a left-hand turn, and you're telling me this idiot, I mean, how wide was this road?
Just skinny little country road.
Why would you do such a stupid thing?
What were you thinking, huh?
Well, I mean, you know, you've got a big trailer, big truck, and like, what are you driving on the shoulder?
Everybody's in a hurry.
Yeah.
You're on the cell phone, I tell you, the new cars today.
Too
with
many.
Touch screens,
Yeah.
they're so distracting.
And then the other question is, and that personal, ballpark, what did this accident cost to repair that, everything, what do you?
Yeah, what was your total?
10,000?
Oh, I wish it was that much. No, I got $6,800. And I got $2,000 worth of parts in there, and
that's a lot.
and then, but 1,000. Well, I went and put an F100 steering box in there, so which is $1,000. So if to fix my steering would have been $500.
Right.
So I got 15. I got paid for it. So.
Well, I was more thinking about, any car nowadays, you have any accident, I don't care what it is, it's $2,000 just at a minimum, and on up from there. I was trying to get.
Well, yeah, but my paint job's $20 paint job. I use Rust-Oleum black and I roll it on. Right.
You're my kind of guy.
Come on, guys.
You're my hero.
Yeah.
But it looks good.
Doesn't come out too bad, does it? You buff it out, it looks pretty good.
So I'll just say, I've been driving in the cities again 25 years, and I used to be a nice guy, and now I just piss them off. If I'm on 280 and I'm going to 94, which I have driven the Model A on that, they drop you off on the fast lane. I'll go 30 miles in that fast lane for 20 miles and let them flip me off. And if there's that shoulder, the big bridge, 77, you're on the bridge, you got the truck lane, and you got Mike on the shoulder. It's just a white line in the road. I use the whole road. I've been known to drive on grass to get out of their way, because you're right, they just don't care. And I'd also like to congratulate you, because I have enough problems to get my wife to drive in the car with me, let alone after an accident, she's still driving with you.
I drug her up pretty good to get it. I just tell her we're going shopping, honey.
Hang on, I'm coming.
Well, you talked about if the body got knocked off the frame. My goodness, there is a bunch of bolts in the Model 8 body holding that to the frame. Compared to these tin cans we're driving today, I would worry about the new Saturn or something losing a body before I'd worry about the Model 8. And also, one of the things that I keep hearing is, oh my God, you're driving that car and the gas tank is right in front of you. I said, have you ever seen a cowl get bent? You got to get hit really hard to bend it where that gas tank is. It's like the old pickups that had the gas tank behind the seat. Boy, very seldom did the cap get bent to where it bothered that gas tank. So I feel pretty safe in my Model
8. Awful quiet. That's it? Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.